Hey YouTube, sorry for the delay in having a video ready for you guys, but as you can see, I'm back up in my apartment here in Massachusetts. It's Friday, August, whatever day this is, toward the end of August. I think it's the last Friday in August. And I got back Tuesday evening. Sorry if I looked really flushed or my color's all weird too, because the lighting isn't really great. This apartment, besides the dining room, which I'm pointing to, and the kitchen and the bathroom, besides those rooms, the living room and the bedroom don't have a ceiling light source, so I rely on lamps and they're not really doing me much good. Also, I don't have any ceiling fans in this apartment, nor do I have an air conditioner. And even though I'm up in the Northeast, lately the Northeast has been experiencing some pretty record high temperatures. So I only have one floor fan, like a tower fan thing that I can use, and I have to like carry it around to each room with me. Like if I'm in the living room, I have it here. If I'm in the bedroom, I have it there. If I'm in the kitchen, I have it blowing because it's really hot in that kitchen. So that's why I look flustered. I've also had a really busy week, but this is an updates video, catch up if you will, and I've been drawing some really interesting cards lately in my Mary L. Tarot. And Shaman's Oracle deck. So I'm going to use these cards to structure my updates because that will hopefully keep me on track. So when I was still in Georgia, I think Monday evening, from the Mary L, I drew the Ten of Swords, which is one of my favorite cards. Riders of the, or Horsemen of the Apocalypse, right? And if you're familiar with my academic work, which I've talked about a little bit here, or probably a lot on this channel, you'll know that I'm really interested in the concept of apocalypse. So I love all the 10 cards in this deck, from each suit. So this is the Ten of Swords. A beautiful, kind of badass image of death and endings, and the endings of cycles and whatnot. And then today I drew the Fool, but reverse, and I don't often draw the Fool. And so we have the Ten of Swords, an image of endings of death, the endings of cycles. And this is so timely because I just finished my time with my husband in Georgia. The summer is over. I'm back in Massachusetts. I'm back in academic mode. So the mode I was in while I was in Georgia has come to an end. So like the Ten of Swords was very timely. Swords also being the air element, at least for me, the air element of intellect and reason and conscious thought, things like that. When I reflect on what my summer was like, including my experience in Arkansas, which is out of the norm. Usually I just spend most of my summer in Georgia and then a visit to my parents in Kentucky, but this summer I had a huge chunk of it, the whole month of June, in Arkansas. And the Arkansas experience, I have a video up. I posted it in early July, I think. But the Arkansas experience was definitely something that boosted my intellectual growth. Not in the research end of things, but in the teaching end of things. And sorry if the trucks and stuff are really loud. I have all the windows open because it's so hot and stuffy in here. And I live right next to a very busy street up here in the greater Boston area. But so as a teacher, because being at the level of academia that I'm at, you have to simultaneously be like many things as an academic, but two of the most important things is being a researcher if you decide to go to a more research institution, or being a teacher, which you will have to teach at a research institution, but there's less emphasis on teaching than if you went to a private liberal arts college, for example, where you're going to be principally teaching undergrads versus being advisors for graduate students and conducting research and publishing and trying to get tenure. So yeah, the researcher part of me, which is a very strong part of me, I would say is fairly developed, and I have, depending on the day, a fair good bit of confidence in myself as a researcher. And I'm going to talk about confidence a little bit later and what I've been learning about confidence for me in my personal life. Or not my personal life as in my relationship, but myself, like shadow work kind of thing. But as a teacher, I would say I'm still fairly new, but my experience in Arkansas taught me that I can be a good teacher. And it just takes dedication and like overcoming my fear and my anxiety and that little bit of social anxiety, well actually quite a lot of social anxiety that I have. And actually studying performance theories has helped me to deal with that, like consciously putting on those social masks that I have to put on depending on the role I'm taking, like if I'm the student or if I'm the teacher or if I'm the colleague, you know. So now I'm teaching again. I am this will be my first year teaching at this university. At my previous university, for my master's degree, I had a research assistantship, so I didn't really have to teach. I just did tasks and research for professors. I did the grunt work. But the third year I was there, I did have to teach, and I taught 2 sections of a course in the fall and 2 in the spring. It was an accelerated math course with an online component, or not math, Spanish. My husband's the math teacher, not me. So yeah, so I taught there, but this is my first time teaching at this particular university. So I have 1 year of teaching experience in Georgia and the month in Arkansas. And Arkansas was obviously a very unique situation. I was teaching, you know, high school, and we had a couple of middle school students, and, you know, in the Mississippi Delta with all of its history and, you know, with all that they brought to the table. But here I'm going to be teaching undergraduate students, and I mean, to just have access to a college education is a privilege in and of itself. You know, to have higher education, college and beyond is an incredible privilege, because it teaches you, I mean, beyond high school, at least beyond my experience of high school at a public school in rural Kentucky. Not the most rural parts of Kentucky, but I mean, compared to a city dweller, I grew up in the boonies. So like from that experience in high school, I can definitely say that I didn't actually learn how to write or read and think critically until I came to college, and I was incredibly privileged to go to a private liberal arts school that is very hardcore when it comes to studying and academics. So yeah, so teaching college students is different because they just bring different things to the table, and like when you're a teacher, you should always consider and respect what the students are bringing to the table. So I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm gonna have to edit the fuck out of this. So yeah, so this is my first time teaching here, and I've actually been going through a shit ton of orientation. Yesterday I was in orientation from 9 a.m. to 2, and today was from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Just all for the language instructors, the new language instructors. And I have 2 more full days of orientation before I actually start teaching on Wednesday. Another interesting interpretation that I'm getting from this card of, my mindset over the summer has been how just unplugged and chillaxed I was this summer, and how that is more than okay. Besides all the hard work I did in June. Like, really, I didn't actually have a break until the end of June or July when I got back to Georgia. Since my husband and I are in a long distance relationship during the academic year, our summers are kind of sacred to us. Like, anytime we get to see each other is sacred. But the summers, being that they are so long compared to like Thanksgiving or Christmas break even, they really are something that we cherish and we fight for. And we make sacrifices for. Like, we didn't go see my parents in Kentucky this year because my husband's working on his dissertation. He's really stressed out about that and about money, and I'll talk about that here in a second. But he just couldn't lose a week going to visit my parents, which sucks because I love going to Kentucky to visit my parents and my best friend from high school and her family, who's like my Puerto Rican family, basically. We've been friends since we were 15 years old, so that's 13 going on 14 years now. But we just had to sacrifice it to allow him to avoid stress and anxiety, worrying about that that ticking clock. I'm so tired, y'all. I really tend to shut the intellectual part of myself down, if that makes sense. I mean, I'm still keeping up with current events and, making plans for the academic year and how that's gonna go, and reading whenever I have the desire and the time. But when it comes to like intense study, I just can't handle it after after just finishing coursework. And that's another ending in the 10 of Swords kind of way. While I was in Arkansas, I finished writing my last final paper. I wrote a piece of shit, but whatever, it's done. I don't give a fuck. I'm free from coursework. Finally. So as long as I've been a grad student, which is like 5 years, including the master's degree and stuff, I've only ever taken courses. So this is my first time actually like seeing what the next step is like after like 5, almost 6 very frustrating, stress-filled years of constant graduate level coursework where you have to write 3 20-page papers, and 2 of them are in Spanish, and they're all due in the same week in May, and you don't have time to prepare for it until the course is almost done because the course is so demanding. It's hell, and I'm so fucking glad to be done with it. So that is another ending, death and rebirth and ending and beginning kind of thing. So the Fool, I love the image of the butterfly, clearly an image of transformations, as the little caterpillar turns into a beautiful butterfly. But specifically the monarch butterfly has such a connotation of migration for me. If you're unfamiliar with the Undocumented Students movement here in the United States, that is definitely something to know about. Many of these movements of undocumented students demanding the right to an education, because in states like Georgia, and I'm more familiar with Georgia because I live there part-time, and I went to school there, but I'm not sure if there are other states who have similar laws, but I imagine there are a few, especially in the South or in places like Arizona. I mean, I don't mean to shit on all the people in Arizona, it's just some of your politicians and school board members are racist as fuck. So anyway, these undocumented students unit movements, especially in Georgia, are demanding the right to an education because, according to Georgia law and according to the official rules of the public universities there, you have to be a U.S. citizen in order, well, you have to, if you're an undocumented student, you will be charged the tuition of a foreign student. And the differences between in-state, out-of-state, and then foreign tuition is huge. And many of these students being undocumented, you know, their parents and many of their relatives are probably undocumented, and it just affects so many aspects of their life, yet they come here and do labor, and they do pay taxes, but they do the labor that, like, well, at least privileged white Americans refuse to do. So they are contributing to society, and yet their children aren't allowed to access an affordable education at a public university. Again, even though the parents are paying both state and federal taxes. The symbol of the monarch butterfly is really for them, and you know, and this has impacted the way that I see it. It's a symbol of migration, of crossing that border, because monarch butterflies do migrate back to Mexico. I can't remember which part of Mexico that they go to, but so there's that movement, that crossing of the border, of making these borders more fluid, and ultimately dissolving them, helping us to see that these borders are constructions that we make to delineate and define things such as nations, right? Anne Orga recently posted a video. I love her channel and her perspective. But she posted a video recently about her changing relationship to the Morrigan, and how she has been accepting the fact that she feels more and more attracted to the idea of the gatekeeper as an archetype, and the different archetypal figures, gods, goddesses around the world that have that gatekeeper aspect to them. And to me, the gatekeeper is very related to the border, the crossroads. I mean, you know, with the shit that I study, a lot of it is like Chicano border studies theory and theorizing from the mental and physical space of borders. And I have lots of videos talking about that. Just listen to my review of Gloria and Salua's Borderlands La Frontera. It's one of the first videos I posted. Anyhow, so I am more and more attracted, and I have been for a while, to border crossers, to deities and spirits and archangels and archetypal figures, you know, all having to do with relating to crossing boundaries. The Virgin Mary can be a border crosser if she's working as an intercessor between the human and the divine. You know, she crosses that border. Also, deities related to chaos and unpredictability, like Elegua, can be a border crosser. Deities of death, La Santísima Muerte, thinking of death as just another part of a greater cycle, you know, that movement from life to death and back and forth, you know. These are all border gods and goddesses to me, or angels or whatever. So that is something I've been meditating on for a while, and I think it was good that I kind of unplugged my intellectual brain during the summer and just enjoyed myself and my time with my husband, and allowed myself to just feel my way through that, to intuit my way through that, I guess. And so now that I'm back in academic mode up here in Massachusetts, I'm ready to, I almost said añadir. I've been speaking Spanish a lot, sorry. I'm ready to add the intellectual part into that and like read more, whatever I can get my hands on when it comes to all of these different border figures to me, border crossers, I guess. And so the Fool as a new beginning, and I'm, related to the Ten of Swords, that deathy vibe. It's not just me teaching at this university for the first time. It's not just me, initiating or starting a new semester. It's also me initiating this magical journey into the realm of border crossers. So that's been really interesting to reflect upon. And actually today I got the Shaman of Reflections, which is the card that, let me know that I needed to make a video and process all this for myself, but also catch you guys up. And the Shaman of Reflections kind of has a shadow worky vibe, and I know 2016 is my shadow work year. I have a playlist, but I haven't made a video for that playlist in a really long time. But now that it's the end of the summer, I'm back up here, I'm starting my academic groove on. Now I can like dive back into the shadow work, especially as the days get shorter and the nights become longer and autumn and early winter comes. Those times of year really help me to be more introspective. This is a St. John's wort tincture, and this is a motherwort tincture. My husband and I, when I was still in Georgia, started taking St. John's wort. And I started taking it too. And I did lots of research about it and decided that it was what, we both could use to help us get through the rough transition of being far away from each other again, but also help him manage his stress and anxiety about writing his dissertation, help me with my stress and anxiety about academia and life in general. And ultimately it's been working incredibly well. So I'm gonna make a separate video about my experience with these two, probably later this coming week. And it's not going to be an informative video. Like, I'm not going to talk about the medical properties or, I'm not going to go into much detail about that because I'm not a professional herbalist. I'm, learning. So it's just going to be a video of me reflecting on my experience with these herbs and how they have helped me and my husband. Especially the St. John's wort. The motherwort I use just in addition to, and I'm taking a low dose. At the beginning, we were taking a couple dropperfuls a day, but now we're cutting back down on the dose. And so I take 15 drops in the morning in a glass of water of the St. John's wort and about around 5 drops of the motherwort in the morning. And then again in the evening. Actually, that's what I have mixed in my water. And this is the first time that I've come back to Massachusetts and I haven't cried about being far away from my husband. And everyone, I'm not saying that I'm like getting over my husband or I love him any less. I'm saying, this is our third academic year apart, so September to May basically. So we have experience with this, we know we can survive it. I feel like we're both more confident about it, but we're also more confident about the fact that my husband is going to graduate either in May or August of next year. So like we can finally see the light at the end of the tunnel. So, you know, it's not that I don't love him any less, it's just we're used to this shit, but also the St. John's wort has been helping us both. My husband, I mean, we both feel bummed, but the day that I left, he sat down and did a bunch of work actually. Instead of like moping around like we usually both do the first full day that we're apart. I haven't cried yet, and I've actually noticed, especially since adding the motherwort and taking that in the morning before I go out the door, I've noticed a remarkable mejoramiento, a remarkable bettering. Oh my lord. I can't think of English words. Improvement. There we go. I've experienced a remarkable improvement in my social anxiety because I've been surrounded by people all day because of this orientation stuff that I've been going through. And I have never felt more solid and more chill. I mean, I still have my occasional moments of like, oh god, I can't handle this semester, this is too much, freaking out, but then 5 minutes later I remember, oh wait, I've been through worse things and I can do this, you know? So it's just been really great stabilizer. And I don't plan on taking St. John's wort forever. This is just to help me through this transition, but also help me through the winter here, because I wouldn't call it seasonal affective disorder, but goddamn, the winters here are brutal. Like, this is the furthest north I've ever lived, and, you know, I'm in Massachusetts, and like, the temperatures are so low for so long, and the days are so short. Like, the worst parts of winter are right before the solstice. The sun sets by like 4:10, 4:15 in the afternoon. It's so depressing, it's terrible. So the St. John's wort's gonna help me through that. So it's gonna keep me like just chill, solid, and stable, and it's also going to help me through the dark, cold winter days and nights here. And the motherwort really has helped with social anxiety and anxiety in general. And that's also something that I don't plan on taking forever. I mean, I know it's dangerous to take when you're pregnant, for example, so whenever that happens, obviously I won't be taking it, and I'm taking a very, very low dose. But I do plan on taking it especially during my period, because I heard it's good for cramps and things like that. So I want to see if, in addition to the emotional benefits that I've received, I want to see if I also get some physical benefits, which, I mean, the two are connected, right? So that's been helping both of us out, the St. John's wort. I'm taking the motherwort, my husband is not. What is something else that has been contributing to my stress and anxiety, or to our stress and anxiety, both mine and my husband's, is our financial situation. He miscalculated how much he was gonna make during the school year, and they've also cut his hours. So he's no longer a full-time grad student research assistant. He's a part-time, and my paycheck has also been significantly cut. Like, my monthly paycheck is $900 less than I was getting last year. So we have had a rough financial situation for the past couple months, but things are a lot better and we're a lot more confident. My husband has been tutoring over the summer, and he's been getting a decent amount of money for that. And now he just applied for a job to teach math GED courses to Latino mostly Latino adults or high school dropouts who want to get their GED. So he'll be teaching in Spanish, and they're paying $20 an hour. Well, he'll only work once, teach 1 2-hour course a week. But hey, $40 a week, I mean, that makes a big difference for a poor grad student like us. I am currently doing research work for my advisor. The work that I'm being paid to do right now will help me and my husband quite a lot. And I'm also just got a job at the Central Library, the main library on campus. It's a very chillaxed, laid-back job. It's a cushion job. It pays fairly well by the hour, and the minimum hours I have to work per week are just 5, and I can definitely handle that. They even said in the rule sheet that they handed out to me when I was going through the interview process and stuff, on the rule sheet it says explicitly, you know, once you finish all your tasks that you owe the library, feel free to use the computers to surf the internet or read a book. Just don't have food on the desk in front of you. Like, I was like, what? I could get paid to study? Fuck yeah, sign me up. And so I just happened to apply, and of course, like, I did some magic and some meditating and, you know, visualization for that job, and I got it. So I'm going through a few hours of orientation on Saturday, and then I can go ahead and start signing up for hours next week. So with that job, I'll be able to cover my own ass and send money to my husband, which he desperately needs to make sure he can, you know, finish the month. So that and the fellowship was a paid fellowship over the summer, and I was able to save a big chunk of that. I actually opened my very first savings account over the summer. Never had enough money for one before, so I put that chunk in there, and that will also help me keep afloat for the fall semester at least. I don't know what I'm gonna do about spring, but whatever, I'll figure that out in December. So it's kind of pertinent that yesterday I drew the Hunter of Abundance card, because, you know, these new job opportunities that my husband and I now have, and the research money and the fellowship money, like, all of this kind of came together about a week after our money freak out. And it has brought, like, so much peace to both of us. So we both hunted for it. I think I have rambled enough. It's still daylight, so I'm debating whether or not I should go to the grocery store, because of course my fridge was quite empty when I arrived. I've been out of Boston since May. So I need food. And I think I'm gonna go do that, and then I have to revise the syllabus for my advisor's class. I'm gonna get paid for that. That's some of the work I have to do for her. And probably just chillax and go to bed. Maybe buy a 6-pack of beer and get some rest, because it's been a long, long day. So yeah, so look out for 2 more videos from me. The first video I'm going to post after this is my adventures in making Morning Glory wine. The Morning Glory flower is my favorite flower, and you can make a wine, and the wine has some special properties, and the flower has special, like, magical significance to me. So I have a whole video explaining that. I just have to record the last bit and edit that, and then after that I'm going to have a shadow work video talking about some of the shadow work that I was able to do over the summer while I was chillaxing, and how St. John's wort and motherwort has personally helped me. So look out for that. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed this ramble. See you soon. Bye!